Welcome to the training on developing an understanding of how vision impairment may affect access to the curriculum. This training could be if you're going to have a new VI student in your class or a refresher training. There's activities to complete as you go along. Please don't move on until you finish the activity, as there could be answers further on in the PowerPoint. You're going to need a pen and paper, so I'll give you time to go and get that now before we carry on. Through this training, I hope to raise awareness of what it is like to have a VI, a vision impairment, in a mainstream classroom. And there's going to be activities for you to complete so you get an idea of what it is like. We're going to look at some of the barriers to learning, to access to the classroom, and we've got a way that you can ask questions after this training. First, just a little bit about who we are. We're part of the sensory support team, and the vision impairment team is a small team, and we work with students from 0 to 25, from nursery up to college, including special schools, with a range of vision impairment, and no one child is really the same, whatever vision impairment they may have. The team's got 2 teachers of vision impairment, and we work with a functional vision assessor, a HLTA who mainly covers Braille and touch typing, and we've got a TA who looks after our technology. We do many things within our team, which might include training. We give support on equipment, on access, on modifying resources, on textbooks, on reading books. We give advice and provide some technology. We'll give information on practical lessons. We take part in annual reviews, target setting, and we also work with qualified HAB specialists to give advice on mobility and habilitation. I've next put a video for you to watch just to give you a bit of understanding on vision impairment. It shows a child and a parent talking about their experiences and in mainstream and why it was important for the parent for her child to go to mainstream, and it's from the RNIB. So you can watch your video now. You're now going to need your pen and paper, and this is an activity that I will explain after you've done it. So I just want you to now draw an island. Remember, we're not in an art lesson, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds to draw an island. Okay, now that you've drawn your island, most people, when we do this in big groups, have the same sort of picture: a deserted island, palm trees, sea around it, as you can see on the screen. Now, not all of you have been to a deserted island, but you've used your prior knowledge and you've seen a deserted island on the television, pictures, you've seen it in a film. So you were able to quite quickly draw the deserted island. You felt quite confident. You didn't need to copy anybody. You didn't need any images. Okay, I now need you to get your pen and paper to draw something else. Okay, I now would like you to do the same activity, and this time I'd like you to draw a rigger jigger. You've got 30 seconds. Okay, how did you feel this time? You had no one to copy, no one to ask. Did you know what a rigger jigger was? How you must have just felt was how a VI student normally feels most of the time. You didn't have any prior knowledge, you didn't have anything to look at, you didn't have anything to touch. Nobody explained what it was. So you were feeling a little bit maybe lost or confused. Okay, I'll show you what a rigger jigger is now to put you out of your misery. Okay, so if you click through this PowerPoint to remove the orange box, you'll see what a rigger jigger is. It's a tool that's used in sailing to tighten up bolts. But what would have helped you do that activity? If you'd have been able to have the object in front of you to touch and to feel it, If somebody would have explained what it actually did. Remember, just putting it on the PowerPoint for a VI student might not always help, as they normally cannot access the board. Having the real life object in front of you, explanations, verbal commentary, then they wouldn't have felt as lost, and you wouldn't have felt as lost, and you would have been able to have a go. So think about lack of prior knowledge with a VI student. They have not had access to some of the images, some of the films, some of the television, some of the experience that other students in the class might have had. A dragon, maybe a shell, maybe an elephant. So what noises, what objects can you give them to support them in their learning? Normally at this stage in the training, we have our blue case of sim specs, and we give each person who attends the training a pair of sim specs each. Obviously at the moment we can't do that, but I would like you to carry out the next activities to try and some homemade sim specs. You can close your eyes. That's enough. You could have a sleep mask. You could cover one eye with a scarf or a bit of cloth. Or if you had any old sunglasses or ski goggles, you could again cover one eye, scratch one eye, obviously with the sunglasses or ski goggles. Cover them with strips of brown tape, cover them with dots of a permanent pen. Just something so that you're going to do these next activities with a vision impairment. So if you stop the PowerPoint now and decide how you're going to do the activities, you can see from the picture what some of the sim specs look like, but mainly something that's going to obstruct your vision and create the sense of having a vision impairment. It's not going to completely replicate, as many children with a vision impairment have 2 or 3 different vision impairments, but it's going to give you an idea of what it's like when you're completing some of the next activities. So if you now decide how you're going to do this, then you can carry on with the PowerPoint and the training. Welcome back. Okay, once you've decided what activities you're going to do, then you can put on your homemade sim specs. So I want you to try at least 3 of these activities with your sim specs on. And these are different sort of things that we do in our training that are things that sort of replicate things that you might be doing in school. So complete a crossword or a word search. Copy out a recipe from a recipe book or a letter or a piece of writing. Get somebody in your house to give you some everyday objects when you've got your sim specs on. Do you know what they are? Read a street sign or a poster or something that's in your house from 2, 4, 6, 8 meters away, because that's what the student are asked to do on a daily basis. Can you read a paragraph from a book that's in quite small font size? Have the television on, and then can you write out your 7 times table? Can you make yourself a glass of water or squash? Can you locate the jug, the glass, the tap? Can you draw a circle or a square or a triangle? Can you put on your gloves, hat, coats, shoes? So choose 3 of these, 3 different types of activities with your sim specs on. Stop the PowerPoint here, have a go at the activities, and then while you're doing it, have a think about how you're feeling. How does this correspond to a student that might be in your class? Obviously, be thinking of safety, make sure that you've cleared the area, and when you've completed the activity, then you can carry on with the training. Okay, how was that? Obviously you're doing it on your own, and normally we're doing that in pairs or groups, but how did it make you feel? So time is an issue. At school, teachers and the class are working to a timetable, to when's break, when's lunch, when's assembly. So you don't have unlimited time. So normally in a training, I might be shouting, you've got 2 minutes to do that, hurry up. Obviously you didn't have that when you did it at home. Were some of the tasks impossible? If you chose to close your eyes or wear a sleep shade, you're not going to be copying out a crossword or looking at the street sign or writing out your 7 times table. So did some of them leave you feeling frustrated? You couldn't do them. Was some of the text too small? What was the format? Did you have the right equipment that you needed? Were you using a pencil? Could you read what you were writing? If you did the task when you had to have the television on and copy out the 7 times table, were you distracted by the noise? Classrooms can be very noisy, and a child with a vision impairment needs to concentrate even more to maybe pick up the teacher's instructions or to complete a task. Did you feel emotional? Did you feel, why can't I do this? I should be able to do this. So some of the things that you might have been feeling are how a child with a vision impairment are feeling most of the day. It's very hard for them to express these feelings, and they know sometimes that they're the only person feeling like this, and they just take that as normal. That's how they should feel. They've never been able to see the board, or they've not always been able to complete a task. And part of our role is supporting them, obviously, and part of your role is to access, and with the right equipment and access, to be able to take part in all activities. It's also very important that people working with a child with a vision impairment think about their languages and their questions. Many times I've gone into a setting and I've been told, oh, that's, yeah, the child can see that fine. And I'm, wow, okay, how do you know? Oh, because I've asked them and they said yes. It's very hard for a child with a vision impairment to actually be able to have the confidence to say, no, I can't see that. For them, it's normal. So maybe they think that's how everybody's seeing something, a little bit blurred or not being able to quite see everything on the board. So we need to think about the right questioning, giving them maybe a choice of 2 different texts in front of them in different sizes. Well, which one do you prefer? Because lots of the time the child is not maybe given the true answer or the true case of how it is for them in the classroom. Sometimes you might have a child who tells you, oh, during football I sit on the bench. A child with a vision impairment is able to participate in all sports, in everything, and it's just having the right support and training so that they can take part in the PE lesson or the cooking lesson. I've observed lessons and I've heard somebody say to the child with a vision impairment, oh, I'll chop that fruit for you. Oh, you don't want to be using a knife. So part of our role is encouraging independence for a child with a vision impairment. What skills can we teach them and the person supporting them so that the child can chop fruit, or if they're doing cooking, or use scissors? They are able to, they just need to be given the skills and shown how to do that, and we can support you with that. I've also heard, oh, I'll finish this for you, that it'll be quicker, talking again about time. Well, it will be quicker, but you don't want a child who's in secondary school who somebody's finishing their work for them all the time. They need their independence. So have they got the right equipment, the right technology, so that the task is accessible for them and they can finish it themselves? So sometimes it's about giving them the independence and the access, and not doing everything for them, that they know how to do the task themselves. And again, that's part of our training and support that we can give. We want to, all of us, raise the independence of the child with a vision impairment and give them the confidence to be able to complete the activities in the classroom and transfer this into the workplace and into their future lives.